Michael Keaton has had a hell of a comeback, coming to great acclaim, winning all kinds of awards for Birdman. Next week are the Academy Awards. Maybe he'll win the Oscar for it. Wouldn't that be cool? But before Birdman, all this acclaim, all these awards, before he was fucking Batman, he had his first starring role playing the buddy, the wacky buddy in Night Shift. This is a 1982 film, directed by Ron Howard, actually. I think it might be Ron Howard's first feature film that he directed, actually. Starring Henry Winkler, Keaton, of course, and Shelley Long. I first saw this movie maybe like 10 years ago or so. Absolutely fell in love with it. I remember I didn't have this VHS. I actually found this fairly recently, and it's in good condition, so I'm pretty happy with this. But I taped it off TV. It was on at like 1 or 2 in the morning or so, and had commercials and shit like that, where, you know, they just whatever we have on like beta, let's just throw it on. No one's watching, that kind of deal. But I absolutely fell in love with the movie. Thought it was so funny. Basically what it is about two schmucks who decide to run a prostitution ring through the city morgue. You know, that tired old story that you've seen 1,000 times before in a million other movies. If that makes sense. But yeah, I kid. But maybe like kind of like in the early 80s, there was sort of this trend of like, you know, mild-mannered Joe becomes a pimp, you know, like with this, and Dr. Detroit with Dan Aykroyd. So I don't know what it was about that. You know, the glamorous life of pimps and prostitutes, obviously, is only the 80s would see it. But ultimately, I think it's a really funny and wacky movie. I really love it. It does have a funny concept to it, and I think it is brought to a higher level through its performances, through the 3 great leads in this movie. We have Henry Winkler playing the main character, who is this mild-mannered kind of dude. He's kind of always, you know, very timid in life and always taking shit from people, basically. You know, the restaurant's always getting his sandwich wrong. His fiance is kind of frigid, and his boss gives him shit and puts him on the night shift, of course. So he's always just taking shit. And so it's kind of like one of those movies where he learns to, you know, take control of his life and things like that. And I think that's really good. And I think Winkler does a great job of this. This is just coming off you know, his Happy Days fame, where I even think I think Happy Days was still on the. This is 1982. I think Happy Days was still on the air at the time. So I mean, that's crazy to think how fucking long Happy Days went on. Meanwhile, like you see, like the Salt and Pepper already kind of starting, and I love how he like completely drops all Fonzieisms in this movie. Like he seems like just regular kind of dude, and I think it's a great performance. You know, he's not trying to capitalize on the success of Fonzie. He's not going "hey" or anything like that. Shelley Long also really good. I guess Cheers was pretty big at this time. I don't even know when. Maybe this is a little bit before Cheers, actually. I don't know. No, it must have been around Cheers. But you know, we have TV stars in movie. But all of a sudden, coming out of left field, is this young guy. Who is this guy? This crazy best buddy that you've seen in all the Best Buddy movies, but except on fucking steroids, on crack, on cocaine, full of energy. Michael Keaton. I think this is his first role, and he's just so funny in this movie. I mean, he kind of plays like the best buddy kind of character that you've seen in a million other movies, but he just does it with such a great energy, you know. The wacky guy always has these great ideas, like, oh, how you doing, man? I just thought, you know, litter's a big problem. How about we make, edible paper? That way you can just eat your burger after you're done. Oh, yeah, whatever. He's like, just like here, there, he's everywhere. Tim Burton must have watched this movie, and he must have thought, Beetlejuice. Anyway, I think he's great in the movie, and I don't know. I think it is a funny concept, though. Again, I think these '80s movies really brought way too much glamour to pimps and prostitutes. You know, like you always see in these movies that, oh, I just do this because this is a good career and I'm in control of my life. You know, whatever. No. Well, maybe. I don't know. Anyway. I think it's very funny, and it does ultimately work as a good romantic comedy, will they, won't they, between Henry Winkler and Shelley Long. So I think that it works really well, and Keaton, he's just so funny in the movie. He really, really is. You know, you look at him, he's like, holy shit, this guy's so young. And part of me, I'll just gush over this movie, but I don't want to give away kind of the best parts of this movie, just in case like you haven't seen it. And I hope I can recommend this, and maybe you'll give it a shot. I mean, again, look at the talent that's involved in this movie. Ron Howard directed it. Brian Grazer produced it, as he always does. Henry Winkler, Shelley Long, Michael fucking Keaton. I mean, what other reasons do you have to not watch this movie? One interesting point that I'll say about this movie, though, kind of how the plot starts out and how these morgue workers get involved with this prostitution ring with all these prostitutes, is because, as we see in the beginning, the hooker's pimp, he's killed. Now this pimp, his name is Franklin. So I have no way of confirming this, but I think maybe just because of Ron Howard and Brian Grazer's involvement, I think later on in Arrested Development, where they had the puppet be the pimp, remember, Franklin? I think there's a connection there, or maybe it's just my imagination. I don't know, but yeah, I won't give away the funniest parts of this movie. I don't want to talk about it too much, but I'll just say that it's a very funny movie. Incredibly underrated. You got to check this movie out. If nothing else, for Michael Keaton's great performance, he is excellent in this film. And kind of at this point, this was like where his career was starting, and a lot of people say this, but a lot of people would say where his career was going in the 80s, very much similar to Tom Hanks, but I don't know, maybe Batman did something to his career, which is kind of explored in Birdman. So this all lays out a great career for Michael Keaton. I think he's just fantastic. So much energy in this movie. Like, you gotta think, this guy, he's like here, there, everywhere. He must have been on like cocaine when he was doing this movie, but don't worry, he got clean and sober a few years later. Yeah, I highly recommend this movie. One of the best 80s comedies, in my opinion. I think it's great. So check it out if you haven't. Night Shift. That's my VHS memory. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you later.